Welcome to Damage Control Podcasting. I'm Daniel. The episode you're about to hear may not be appropriate for all listeners. You'll hear us give a brief warning at the beginning of the episode, which is all about sex and sex content in movies, that we're not going to get into the heavy stuff. Adam specifically requested it, and then primarily myself completely ignored that as a warning, and we got into some pretty heavy and deep stuff. Ironically, we even talked about the importance of trigger warnings, and the content that we talked about inadvertently triggered even one of our co-hosts on the show. So be advised that the episode you're about to hear has some pretty deep topics. We're going to be discussing such things as sexual violence in films, as well as other sexually related content. If this episode is not appropriate for you, please move on to an episode. You won't hurt our feelings. Thanks for listening. I don't know what we're going to do without a cold open. I feel weird not having a cold open like that.
Well, maybe it'll be warmer. Hot, steamy open.
Ooh, I love a hot,
Speaking
steamy
of cold,
open.
can we close the windows? It is kind of breezy in here.
The windows aren't.
The windows aren't open.
Closed.
The shades
What
are
about
down.
that one?
That's why we're all in
The
here.
1-2 rooms down,
I can feel a draft.
then we need to switch spots because I'm sweating over here.
Well, it is kind of weird you two being in a different
All right,
position.
all right.
This episode's all
You
about
know-
positions.
You know, a different position sometimes is good. It kind of refreshes things,
No.
and
Nope.
and you get to see new perspectives.
Missionary, direct eye contact the whole time.
Direct eye contact.
Okay, hello and welcome.
Staring at the back of his head.
Hello and welcome to the Orig, a show by Damage Control Podcasting, a professionally unprofessional look at the conventions, ideas, and genres of filmmaking. I'm here with.
Cody Dietrich.
I forgot my name. Tyler Tipton.
Daniel Newkirk.
Okay, this episode is about sex and nudity in cinema.
Baby, let's talk about you and me.
So hold on.
Yeah.
There's 4 white men in a room, and we're going to talk about sex and cinema.
Is
that right?
I'm not careful. I didn't want to be here today, but we needed a fourth person to make a quartet.
And nudity.
And nudity. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm just... If this shit doesn't get us canceled, nothing will.
No, we're good. Okay, trivia. After President Obama.
When you're looking at the back of his head, what position are you in?
No, we're good.
Depends. Is the mirror involved or?
Why do we bring Depends on it to us?
Because
Well,
there's
it's gonna-
multiple cups.
If
Depends
you're
on
not
how-
using, if you're not using Depends, are you even doing it right?
It depends on how old your partner is.
There's a
Okay.
reason Adam no longer works for a nursing home.
Oh.
God.
Hang on, I got some.
You got to blow the
Started.
cobwebs off of that
I
one.
got some static.
Oh, that just reminds me of how horrible Dumb and Dumber 2 was.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
You don't remember that?
I never saw it.
Oh.
I haven't seen it to
Yeah, well,
remember.
There's a trailer.
It was a cheap way to say, like, why didn't they have a sequel before this? Like, I agree on that, but that payoff was just
That was a bad movie. We'll leave it at that.
Fair enough.
Okay, on to the boobies.
Okay.
Boobies.
After President Obama stated he liked True Detective, what actress tweeted, "The president has seen my boobs"?
I hope to God it's Alexandra Daddario.
It is Alexandra Daddario.
5 points. Oh,
Originally,
did I beat Cody again?
Oh no!
originally not
I
wanting.
am holding back my fury.
You know what the sad part is about that whole episode, and I just now thought about it?
What?
If Cody had 2 more points, he would have won.
Oh yeah, that goes all the way back to the beginning.
I should have said that in the last episode. Adam, stop recording this one and start recording the other one again.
I don't edit.
Oh, that's right, you don't.
All right. Originally not wanting to appear topless, producers gave Halle Berry a 500,000
Swordfish.
to do this scene. What movie did she first appear topless?
Swordfish.
What movie did she appear completely naked in a sex scene
My home movies.
with Billy Bob Thornton?
Bad Santa.
No, it's Monsters Ball. So anyway, they paid her $250,000 per boob.
Hold on, I need to write down a list of movies to watch.
Monsters Ball
250,000.
per boob.
Just
So
listen
$500,000.
Listen to Seth MacFarlane's "I Saw Your Boobs" Oscar opening. That's pretty good.
Okay, so we're gonna be.
Does Mr. Skin still have a... Like, is that still a thing? Is that an account I can go buy somewhere?
Wow.
No, don't. Just go to like Google Images.
Let's go to the fappening like everybody else.
Yeah, but
That's illegal. They didn't have their consent, Tyler. And good sex is all about consent.
I'm just saying, go to it and then look at the pictures and then realize how
We might
wrong
have
it
to delete
is.
this entire episode. Now I'm more to think about it.
But it's almost like they go on like a jihad.
What
A
the hell, man?
a celebrity
It's
jihad.
It's a porn site. Celebrity jihad.
I hope to God my wife doesn't listen to this episode.
Like, you guys, like, I'm getting really uncomfortable now because my mom shares every single episode on Facebook.
Anyway.
Hey, Cody's mom. We're talking about sex now.
This will be Cody's mom's favorite episode.
Anyway, group thoughts.
Cody's mom's gonna be like celeb jihad.
I've got a great story about Cody and I, like, when I met his mom. I'll have to tell you when we're not recording.
Oh fuck!
All right.
Okay, we're only gonna, after all those inappropriate stuff, we're only gonna be talking
Inappropriate?
about.
There's only 2 trivia questions,
Yeah,
and I got them both right,
yeah,
so I beat.
because you saw the paper. Because we're only gonna be talking about nudity and sex and cinema. We're mainly as storytelling. We're not gonna be talking about the politics stuff, the exploitation of men and women. We know it exists, but we're not a serious podcast, so let's just bypass all the hard.
We're not a serious podcast.
Oh man, we should have gotten to the disclaimer before
Oh.
we started
There's so
cutting
much
up.
research for tonight.
So we know that stuff exists. So we're gonna.
Yeah, but on Pornhub, that has nothing to do with this, Cody.
No, I watched The Beach like 15 times.
Who's naked in the beach?
Yeah,
Well,
just in like 1 minute intervals.
Yeah, like, and it's not like you see everything.
Okay,
but
Cody,
I-
if you watch a movie and after the title it says an Axel Braun parody, that's not the actual movie.
Really?
So that's my problem with the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Like, I was wondering why there was no ring in Lord of the G-String.
That is
a real porn.
Yes, that is a real porn, and I have a fun story about that one.
It used to be on
Like,
the blurry
what do you guys
channels.
think I didn't know it existed? Like, I'm not making a joke here. I was wondering where the ring was in the movie.
There were throbbits.
On the cock.
I should put this down.
Probably.
Okay. Anyway.
For reference, Cody was not holding what you might think he was holding. Can we go back to the part where you talk about us not being a serious podcast?
No. So anyway, avoiding the politics stuff.
Yeah,
Men and women being exploited. Harvey Weinstein shit.
Okay, let's not bring it up anymore.
No, I'm just saying we're not going to be talking about that. We're talking about
But you just did, so it's
sex and nudity as a storytelling device.
Nudes.
Okay, so can we just drop a blanket statement here at the end of the disclaimer? Do not exploit people for their sex. Sex should always be consent and fun. Harvey Weinstein is bad. Do not do that. Do not rape. Do not sexually assault. Do not sexually harass. Just have a good fun time for everyone involved. This is the coffee pot.
Oh, I was like,
And use protection. Always bring a gun. All right, so let's talk
my
about.
9mm.
Let's talk.
I use Saiyan armor personally.
You want to laugh at that one, Cody? It's okay. All right, so let's. Okay, so I had a bunch of stuff because this is like a huge topic for me. So I rewrote this several times.
It's a medium-sized topic. Really.
even up to like an hour before we were talking. But
An hour before we were. Never mind.
This is refractory period.
So.
Okay.
So I eliminated a lot of stuff because there's a lot of stuff I want to do a whole episode on like
holes.
But so like I'm just gonna
It's a great coming of age story.
so we're just gonna randomly talk.
Well,
talk.
I can never watch that movie and or read that book again.
Okay. So this is gonna be loose because I took a lot.
Yeah, it is.
It's
a topic that's been worn out a couple times.
So
You're such children.
I took a lot of stuff out.
This is gonna be the longest episode ever.
This is just the intro.
It's been 45 minutes and we're.
What's the difference between what would you guys say, or how do you guys feel the difference between portrayal
Usually my
of
hands.
naked men versus naked women?
I believe women are used more and men sparingly, and not to a fair degree.
I would say that used to be true, but modern storytelling, I think, has really gone the other way around. I think you see a lot more nudity in men.
You see John Cena's ass in Trainwreck.
Yeah, like there's a lot of
but
like,
it's always
especially
an ass.
Well,
not
you
not
can't-
always.
You can see a
You see
penis.
Tom Hardy's dick in Bronson.
Yeah, you can see Kevin Bacon's dick in Wild Things, but it has to be flaccid. It can't be hard.
Right, like you see Robin Williams in World's Greatest Dad. He's got a full frontal scene.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I never finished that movie.
No, it's not. It's dark.
It's
dark.
a harsh movie. It's hard to get into.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of innuendos.
So there was a show that I was watching, and just to be 100% transparent, the name of the show drew me in. I'm like, I'm going to watch the first episode. And then, like, the storyline kind of caught me, and I continued watching. But it's called The Sex Life of College Teens. Or College Students, I think. And it's on HBO Max. And it's kind of your typical kid drama, or teenage drama in college kind of thing with some sex humor in there, whatever. So through the whole show, which, references their sex lives, and there's a lot of reference for sex, none of the main characters do you ever see naked or topless. I think you may get a couple butts, and you get, I think, one of the girls you might see topless. But everyone else that shows any sort of nudity is either male character, you get both front and back, or they are an extra, and you never see their head and their top at the same time.
So do you think? Do you think it's? Do you think it's now being like it's completely reversed? Like it used to be, we'll show some boobies here to draw in the younger crowds, but now we're going to show some dudes. We're going to be edgy, because it used to be edgy to show girls, to bring it in like a mainstream, or it was already to show naked girls. But do you think now it's become like, let's show dudes?
Well, I think a big part of it is like the self-respect aspect. So you had, directors who were exploiting female actresses to be, okay, get naked and for the sake of being naked in this shot or this scene.
Right.
And now I think actresses who are in these kind of roles now are putting in those clauses, hey, I'm not going to get naked. Kind of like Emilia Clarke did after season 4, I think, of Game of Thrones, something like that. She put in a clause in her contract where she's not doing topless anymore or something like that.
Wasn't that controversial? Because wasn't her character 15 years old?
In the book, she is.
Yeah.
Oh, not in the show.
In the show, she's obviously like an adult woman.
I don't think they really say her age, but yeah.
Or I think reasons.
In the books, yeah. I mean, everyone's aged down in the books. Like Jon Snow's like 13 in the books. And
Are you serious?
Yeah, they're all like really young.
So that's why he knows nothing.
Yes.
So it's not like he spent 15 years just thinking, it's going to be great and wonderful. He was just actually an idiot teenager going to join the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
Now, did I continue? Did you finish?
You can always tell when I finish, Adam.
It's going to be really difficult to...
so hard.
Now, as far as I know,
I'm uncomfortable.
As far as I know, we're 4 heterosexual males. Do you think? do you think that like there's more female nudity because the female form is more aesthetically everybody
likes boobs.
I have gay friends who say the naked female form is more aesthetically pleasing than
dicks are gross looking. Let's be honest.
Do you think Do you think that's? I mean, what's your opinion? Do you think?
I think that's always been a thing that I think the female form has been more idyllic, more than the men's body, just straight throughout history. And I think it was a sort of a turning point, I don't know, like 30 to 40 years ago when that started hitting the media phrase of like, hey, if we do this, we can make more money just by showing a boob. Because of how scandalous it was. And like, I don't know about you, but I sort of felt like teenage years around my time, it really sort of hit that stoner American Pie, oh, everybody's getting laid, everybody's doing this, sort of mainstream, like Stifler. You know how he was like, oh, this is the guy always having sex and getting the girls with the hot chicks. And sort of that mentality of it's just so easy in this sort of medium to just like show a pair of boobs, hot girl, like, oh, this is every young man's fantasy. It just, on at least what I've seen of that end of the franchise and media. and it just sort of, I don't know, spiraled out of control for a while, because sometimes it didn't even make sense. It'd just be, you'd have a comedy that have nudity, but then you just start having just the straight nudity comedy.
Like the lewd dick and fart joke type. Dude, where's my car?
Yeah, like just the straight up, like where the whole point of a joke was like, oh hey, these pendants can give our girlfriends bigger knockers. Ha ha ha!
Wait, what movie's that?
Dude, where's my car?
Is it really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, obviously it had an impression on me because I still remember it. But it just sort of the easy way out in storytelling, I think.
Is to show a pair of boobies.
Show a pair of boobies like, oh, this chick's hot. It conveys more emotions than actual dialogue.
So is that why they do it in horror films? Or is that because you put the typical woman, you know, in the skimpy outfit where she's more vulnerable? Or is it you think it's just like, hey, let's put this chick in a shower because, you know, I would assume that most horror films are marketed to young guys.
Okay, so a lot... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that I think that the answer to that question kind of looks back at where you're looking at, right? So your original source for the naked woman in horror films, I think, goes back to...
Psycho?
Psycho's kind of where I'm thinking.
Maybe
a little bit before that even.
You're sort of. So, kind of. So, a lot of the naked women... So, horror... Anyway, I'll skip all that crap. So, what you're thinking of, like, the naked woman being in horror is the slasher, which Psycho was one of the first.
Right.
And a lot of the slashers in the 70s and 80s were low-budget features. And a lot of actors got their... Women knew... I shouldn't say women knew. I shouldn't say that. But a lot of women could up their career by, you know, taking their shirt off, or a lot of like the what they called the splatter films, the Tom Savini films. A lot of the actresses that were getting naked in the films were either strippers that became actors, so they had no problem with it, or they were ex-porn stars trying to be mainstream actors, so they had no problems with it. And that's where I think that's where Daniel was going. That's where a lot of that started, and then it just became part of the...
It became the trend.
It became the part of the subgenre of the slasher, because you don't really see like Conjuring movies have boobies. It's always, unless it's like the evil witch and it's all like saggy and decrepit, but it's
it's like that, you know?
It's usually
don't kink shame.
We're not kink shaming.
It's
here.
usually the slasher subgenre that has the girl that randomly gets randomly gets naked. But there's also, and I don't know, I interrupt you. Go ahead. I'll wait to bring up this point.
No, you're fine. I agree with a lot of what you said there. I think the original intent was show vulnerability, because you are never more vulnerable than when you are naked and unprepared.
Very true.
I always have a gun on me.
Or taking a shit.
Right, yeah.
Don't ask me where I'm hiding.
So that was the original intent. And then that intent, pun kind of intended, got perverted. It got twisted into, now we're going to show boobs for boobs because sex sells.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a group of psychologists, I guess would be the right term, that have kind of been studying slasher movies. And there's a lot of unintentional or possibly intentional allegory to sexual assault in horror movies.
That's what I was going to bring up. But you talking about the knife being the penis?
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Oh, that was a softball lob to you, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. So during before I get to that point, I want to talk about your other point about being vulnerable.
Yeah.
So when you present a movie to the MPAA, they watch it, and as you don't know who it is. You send it off, and it's supposed to be anonymous. I'm sure if you're a Steven Spielberg or Martin Scorsese, you know who's watching your film. But if it was just us and we made a horror film and we had a nude scene we'd present it in and say it's a rated R, and we would say, well, the studio won't let us release it on a rated R. What caused it to be rated R? And they can either say, we're not going to tell you, but you need to make some cuts, or if you get lucky, they'll say, well, according to this, this, and this, that for us pushes over the line, because unfortunately, the MPAA there's like not a rule book. It's just whatever they're feeling.
Yeah, and there's something really, it's really subjective. There's no, like Adam said, there's no hard, fast rules. And
well, I say they're probably nowadays.
No, it's still.
Well, it used to probably be like hard, fast rules. Obviously, if you're trying to get to a G movie, if you have boobs in it, you're not getting a G rating.
Right. I mean,
so there are some there has to be some sort of a little bit of a spectrum. Like,
right.
Hey, okay, this is obviously no way in hell you're getting this rating with this in it.
Right, but there's no, like, especially when you get to the higher ratings, like the PG-13 to the R, the only, like, real hard rule there is there's only one fuck in a PG-13.
And it can't be sexually, like, I want to fuck you. It has to be like you stub your toe and you say fuck.
Right.
Yeah. But what I was going to say is, like, have you guys seen Saw 3? Anyone seen Saw 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
Saw it with you.
There's a scene where the naked girl...
I get it.
Where
No, I did.
You saw it with him?
He actually did see
No,
it.
I saw it. He took it to be in theaters, and I almost threw up in like the first 10 minutes.
So there's a scene in the movie where there's a naked girl tied, she's tied up, and then water. She's in a cooler, and then there's water being spouted on her, and she's slowly freezing. In the director's commentary, he sent that to be rated, and the film wouldn't be released. The film was going to be released unrated. The MPA is like, this is beyond R. This is unrated. And Lionsgate's like, well, we can't release this. What can we cut? The main thing for Saw movies are the traps, right? So clearly they're not going to get rid of the gore. And he got lucky and said, well, you've got a naked girl being tied up and being sprayed with liquid. Isn't that kind of sex exploitation? And Darren Lynn Bousman, whether he's telling the truth or not, this is what he stated to the MPA. He goes, well, no, the intent was that, just like Daniel said, it's all about vulnerability, because you're more vulnerable completely naked. This girl is completely naked, has a stranger walk into a room. She's tied up. She's being tortured, and she's being sprayed with water, which isn't a sexual allegory. She's in a cooler, so every time she's being sprayed with water, it's slowly freezing her. If she was putting it in, like Darren Bosman said, if she had a bra and panties on, it would all of a sudden be more sexually, to him, it felt more sexually aggressive and more exploitive if she had a bra and panties on, as opposed to being nude where she was completely vulnerable, because that was the point. And the MPA agreed with it, and they were able to release it as an R, because that's what sent them over the... I mean, they had to do like 5-second cuts here and there on the gore, but the torture of the naked woman was what sent it to unrated. So, because I agree with what Daniel said 100%, that the MPA is completely subjective, and he had to like fight for that. And then if you explain yourself, once again, he could be lying. I didn't work on the film, but I listened to a lot of director's commentaries, and that was what his argument was to the MPA, and they're like, yeah, okay. And so they released it as an R. So
right, yep. But still no way in hell with nude scene that they could make it PG-13.
No, okay. So we can talk about that right now anyway. Yeah. So the rate. Oh, go ahead.
But well, before we get off the topic of the NPAA,
yeah.
There is a fantastic documentary out on Netflix called "This Film Is Not Yet Rated," and the whole film is about the NPAA and the different trials that the directors and writers kind of go through to get their film rated, and kind of the unfairness of the NPAA. For example, in the Fast and Furious movie, that one had to have the scene where the guy is caught on the semi truck with the wire wrapped around his arm. They had to cut like half a second out of that scene in order to drop it from an R to a PG-13. It's ridiculous. But one of the things that's kind of the growing trend is you can get away with a PG-13 orgasm for a man. In PG-13 films, the orgasm is a joke. There's even some PG-13 films that show semen. But you cannot show a woman enjoying sex, much less orgasm, in a PG-13. In fact, most of the R-rated movies won't get R-rated if you show a woman enjoying sex. It'll immediately bust it to not rated or unrateable.
Yeah, and the semen has to be comically inaccurate.
Right. Like you see in...
What was Pleasantville rated?
I can find out.
Well, she had an orgasm, but you didn't see... She was in the bathtub, right? If I remember right. But you don't see anything, and you don't see like her fingers or anything.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't explicit. So getting on the idea of ratings real quick. So
PG-13 for Pleasantville.
So G obviously is no nudity, period. Like that's in bold letters, no nudity. PG, you can have brief nudity, which I was shocked by that.
Like brief as in underwear, or brief as in
no, like
short?
Nudity. But I'm assuming
like a butt.
Yeah, like a butt. I'm assuming like no.
Well, yeah.
No
now that I
dick
think
at
about
all.
it, I've actually seen
PG-13, strictly old man wrinkly ass. That's
No,
all, that's all
so
I'm
you
giving
can have PG-13. You can have actual nudity, but it cannot be sexually oriented.
It has to be like, oh, this guy's naked in an uncomfortable situation.
Or you know your 80s comedies where you have a bunch of naked girls running in the background, but it can't be sexually oriented at all. So your rated R, it can have all kinds, but just like he said, it can be sexually oriented, but it can't be pornographic. So you can simulate sex. Like you could have a girl on top of the guy.
You can't show the actual process, though.
Right, or you can't show... Once again, it's completely subjective, like Daniel said with the MPA. Now, NC-17, which I don't... Was Showgirls probably the last American movie released NC-17?
At least in theaters, probably. I mean, there's tons that have been released.
Amazing movie.
Because
Perfect piece of cinema.
It just... NC-17 doesn't necessarily mean pornographic. It just means themes that are not suitable for anyone
Under the age of 17.
And of course, unrated means it's unrated. It just means that the MPA is like, we're not giving this an approval of anything.
But even nowadays, that unrated thing now has a moniker of its own. It means like, oh man, that was too bad for the MPA. I want to see that because it's going to be unregulated, and people kind of thrive on that unregulation.
To be perfectly honest, now that I'm adult enjoying cinema and stories as they are, I prefer unrated. Because I don't want the artist's or director's vision to be tainted by what can I sell.
Sorry.
You're fine. So there's a movie coming out, and I don't remember the name, but it stars Alexander Skarsgård.
Infinity Pool,
thank you. And they're releasing an R cut for theaters, but they're at some point going to release an unrated cut. And that movie, the trailer seems very, very interesting as a psychological horror movie. And I personally am going to wait for the unrated cut because I want to see the artistic vision that is in this film. And the only thing that I've really heard about the difference so far is there's a full frontal of Alexander Skarsgård. That is one of the main differences. But for what purpose, I do not know. I don't know anything about the storyline behind it other than it's a psychological thriller.
Yeah, I agree with you. I prefer when I did buy DVDs, because it doesn't seem like anyone sells DVDs anymore. I always went for the unrated just because 95 to 98% of the time it's always the director's vision. There have been some directors that, like I think James Cameron, when they released Titanic, they released the ultimate cut or something, like after 10 years, and he's like, that's not my cut. Like they wanted to call it the director's cut, I think, and they ended up calling it the ultimate cut because James Cameron's like, my vision is what went in the theaters. So 95 to 98% of the time it's always the director's vision. So I'm with Daniel. Ultimate cut, I want the most out of my DVD or movie, so I go for that. Any other questions before I move on to the next talking topic? I was kind of nervous because I took so much stuff out because this type of stuff is really interesting to me. So it was getting too heavy. It was going to be like a 3-hour podcast, so I just made talking points. So I was kind of nervous we wouldn't have anything to talk about. All right, boobies. The act of sex used as a storytelling device. Now, how do you guys feel about seeing sex or nudity in a movie? Do you feel like As a storytelling device, or just like when a girl just takes off her shirt randomly or whatever, or a
I'll
guy.
say it has changed for me over the years. Like, I remember as a younger teenager, like anything and everything American Pie, like I said that, like, oh my god, boobs, I would watch it, or like you'd like repeat a scene a couple times just because whatever. But nowadays it's not as important to me because I realize it's there just to throw somebody in, and like, okay, I get it. I passed that point in my life. I want more of a story.
Right. Okay.
So I feel both similarly and different than Cody does. I feel similarly that I want the story. Now, if the sex scene is important to that story, I want the sex scene to be in there, and I want it to be done correctly. If the sex scene doesn't need to be in there, I say cut it. And if you're not going to do the sex scene correctly, I say cut it.
Okay.
Now, because one of my...
Can you be more specific? What do you mean by correctly?
Right,
Missionary.
so...
Eye contact.
The thing that really, really bothers me is when you have a sex scene that isn't realistic.
Okay.
You have the guy's pants are totally on. The girl doesn't take her shirt off. If the storyline requires the sex scene to be there, then you're not going to convince me that the sex scene is important by dude is rubbing his waist of his jeans on the side hind flank of the girl.
Are they parents?
Like-
Because that's 100. That's 100% believable.
Are they parents, and are they in the bathroom with the door locked? And
Yeah.
the kid's going, "What's going on?"
I'm sorry, I just have a hard time with that because I could count on one hand the number of times that I ever slept with a woman and we weren't completely naked.
Okay.
Both of us.
Okay.
You know?
Wait, do you sleep naked?
Me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what about the
Do you
L
sleep
thing in
naked?
movies where the
I'm gonna-
woman always
I'm not going to answer
has
that.
a blanket
that
up
is
to
super-
here,
Okay.
and then the guys always have his chest showing? That's completely unbelievable in movies.
That's annoying, but
Yeah.
it's like I would rather that scene exist if you have to do the pillow talk as part of the storyline than this passionate romantic sex scene and the girl is still wearing her full shirt. And at no point does anyone ever think, oh, maybe we should take this off. Like, it doesn't...
Sometimes you gotta hurry it up, man. You got a
Yeah,
deadline.
if that's the storyline they're portraying, sure, that's fine.
You know, one thing I really appreciated. Have you guys seen Panic Room?
Yes.
A long time ago.
Jodie Foster in the middle of the night gets up and takes a piss, and you
Mhm.
hear the piss. Like, that's legit. That's, I mean, I know it's not really sex or nudity, but that's in the same ballpark. Like, that's legit. People get up and take a piss. Like, you don't, and you hear it. That's like shit you don't see in movies.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that was
Like,
cool.
well,
Wouldn't it be
it's a
piss you
thing,
don't
right?
see
You're
in
not
movies?
allowed to. Like, that was a thing for a while too. Like, you're not like, don't worry about that.
Put the blade down, Cody.
Like, I
don't
need
that
something
you
to
have
fidget
it.
with, and there's nothing else around. If you hand me something to fidget with,
There's nothing else around.
there's books over here. That's it.
It's a nerd orgasm in here.
If you hand me that cube behind you, I will put the blade down.
That'll make a lot of noise.
I'm not gonna make noise with it. I'm just
You
gonna.
can't not make noise with it.
I will make a lot of noise if he's fidgeting with that and it goes into my skull. As for things, I mean, I can't really think of anything that... The only thing that comes to mind is like... And I understand it's for the story, I mean, because it's a major point in the story, but like... Girl with the dragon tattoo.
Which one? The David Fincher?
The David Fincher one. Like, I almost had to walk out of the room during that rape scene, which, I mean, technically it's a credit to how well they bring the point across, but at the same point, I mean, I guess it's stuff like that. I mean, if it's like a normal sex scene, then, you know, it makes sense to the story. But for me personally, like, that was hard to fucking watch, which is the whole point.
Yeah. Now, I think that is one thing that really should be addressed more often is the sexual assault and rape in movies. To me, personally, I would rate that way higher on the NPA or NPAA scale than I would women enjoying sex. Like, I would drop women enjoying sex PG-13 maybe.
That should only be in fantasy movies anyway. That doesn't have
maybe not for your women.
Well, it is what it is. Man.
But for a sexual assault scene or a rape scene, that shoots that straight to the top for me. And that's one of those things that, like, the Bates Hotel, the show that was about that, there is one rape scene, and it takes place...
That was like the first...
that's first or second episode.
That's why I couldn't get into that show either.
Yeah, it was so abrupt and so different than the rest of the theme of the entire show. It was kind of off-putting. And I don't remember there being any specific warning about sexual violence happening in that show.
Same thing. I mean, I don't think there was a warning with Last House on the Left. Either one. I mean, I bought both of those because I was never into horror movies growing up, and I was like, well, I'll get some horror movies. You know, I'm older now. I'm not as much of a pansy as I was, and there was nothing that I can remember that said, you know, sexually explicit, blah blah blah. Maybe in today's world, where now if you watch a movie from the 40s on Disney Plus, it's, you know, has a warning that says, you know, actors smoking, blah blah blah. But there was nothing that alluded to that, and it just like slapped you in the face, and you're just like, what the fuck just happened?
No, I agree with that. You can see that stuff on Netflix. So 13 Reasons Why, everyone knows about that show. And this... I'm sorry?
What... Is that the suicide one?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, yes, 13 Reasons Why is about a girl who commits suicide, and she leaves these tapes behind explaining why she did it.
She gets raped,
there is a rape episode.
Gotcha. Okay.
And before they even start the rape episode, they have this giant disclaimer saying, hey, you're going to watch this. If you don't want to see it, skip to this part. You won't miss anything. If you need help, it's very, very tastefully done trigger warning. And it came out about the time that internet culture was making trigger warnings a giant joke. Oh, these snowflakes need trigger warnings. Yeah, because they're fucking important. So the 13 Reasons Why came out with a very tasteful, very well done trigger warning. And other shows on Netflix with a similar theme or have a similar scene are now shown with that trigger warning or some sort of warning that, hey, you are going to witness sexual assault. Now, that is the correct way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, I've kind of gone on record and said that every Halloween I watch a series of horror movies that are always in line with each other. And I try and grab something a little bit different, like 2 years ago I did all the Paranormal Activities. The year before that I think I did all the Conjuring movies in the series. This year I wanted something a little bit different. So this Halloween I did some research and I watched the I Spit on Your Grave series.
Did you watch the remake or the original?
I watched the remake.
Okay.
I didn't get to watch the original. But I watched the remake, and I had a kind of an idea what the theory and the theme was, and if you aren't familiar with it, it's about a woman who gets raped or sexually assaulted, and then she goes on a killing spree, murdering and torturing everyone, Saw style, who assaulted her. And that's basically the theme for all three movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had an idea of what it was when I turned it on, but the platform that I watched it on, which I think was Amazon, gave me little to go off of. The splash screen that showed up said, I think R or NC-17, I don't remember which cut I watched, and it was violence, nudity, sexual situations. If I didn't know what I was watching, what I was prepared for, because those had some stomach-churning and graphic sexual assault scenes. And you have to prepare an audience for that kind of thing. Have to.
Okay, since we're on I Spit on Your... Have you seen I Spit on Your Grave?
No.
No.
Okay. Okay, so I sit on the fence. I ride the fence directly down the middle on what you say.
Right up the cheeks.
Right up the cheeks. Because I do agree. I do agree. There should... If you are in a location like Netflix or any of the streaming platforms... Trigger warnings, okay. I mean, some of that shit definitely shouldn't be on Disney. Like, something... I don't care if if Disney bought the rights to some studio that owns a I Spit on Your Grave S-type movie, never should be on Disney Plus. I don't care how many. I do know they have, was it Disney After Dark or whatever, where you have to type in a PIN code.
They've got it where like you can set up like when you make a profile or whatever, you can select and say, you know, these are the types of movies that they can watch. But unrelated to the topic, but I have seen trailers for shows that are being put on Disney Plus that are very much not something that you would think would be on Disney Plus.
So getting with where Daniel says, I agree and disagree with Dan. I agree 100%. That was an oxymoron. I agree and disagree. I agree 100%. I pulled a Cody on that one. If you're going,
you lost by a point.
I'm trying to get Cody. I'm trying to get Cody to make noise because he's.
Well, we said we were going to do heavy, and then we immediately dived into
Yeah,
heavy.
like I'm kind of like.
Okay, right. Okay, this is my last thing.
I needed a trigger warning, man.
This is my last thing on heaviness, and we'll move more to the lightness.
Okay.
So I agree with Daniel. If you are on Netflix or someplace like that where kids are easily accessible to it, the warning's fine. Or I guess I have more of a problem with the word warning, but that's just a personal thing. Yeah, it should
hey,
there's about to be some shit to go down on this.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Right. But some of my best fucking movie experiences are like when I bought I Spit on Your Grave, the original. I knew what happened to the character, but I didn't know. The remake is good, but the original, if you want to feel like a piece of shit and see some really bad stuff, there's like a 13 to 15 minute extremely graphic, like goes way beyond, like you literally, it feels like you're watching these dudes with a camera physically doing, like this isn't an actress, like this is literally a person. Now, it wasn't, I didn't get off or get excited about watching it, but it made the last 45 minutes make sense. Like you're like, oh yeah, this chick is doing what she needs to do. But and I felt like, I'm an atheist, but I felt like, fuck, maybe I should go to church after watching this movie. That's how. And some of my favorite movie experiences are that the
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I didn't get off on that, but it's just like, it makes this, like, I don't feel like art should, I feel like art should be dangerous and shouldn't be censored, but it has a responsibility. Like do you got, I'm almost done with the heaviness, I promise. Like, we're talking about nudity and sex in movies, so let's talk about taboo topics like pedophilia, incest, and rape. I don't think there's ever a topic that you shouldn't make a movie about. I mean, and even if you're a shitty person and you're exploiting it for money, there should never be, art should be dangerous. Now, if you're making a movie about pedophilia, should you hire a minor to play the character? No, even if there is no nudity, I think you have a responsibility as a storyteller to not use a child. Use an actor who's of age. And I know actresses who are young and they're wiser and they're exposed to stuff that children aren't. But I think an adult actor that looks younger and has the mental capability to be like, this is a movie, this guy is going to do this is just a scene. Like, you hear stories of child actors being mentally screwed up in horror. I mean, Wes Craven even said in Nightmare on Elm Street, to get one of the girls, to get the New Nightmare, to get the boy to freak out, he said his parents, he literally made sure the child actor saw Wes Craven walk his parents to a back room and shut the door, back up to kids, said, I just killed your fucking parents in that room. And that's how he, now that's not the same as nudity, but still, like that, like he has gone on record, said that fucked him up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not
I-
okay.
I heard a similar story way back in black and white area. There was this child actor, a director. I don't know if it was literal, but either pretended to kill the dog or literally killed the kid's dog to get him to have a general emotional response.
So, to my point is, if you're going to make a movie about pedophilia, you're going to make a movie about incest. Because I know people are out there trying to censor art, whether it be painting, movies, comic books, whatever. I just think it should never be censored. Art should be dangerous, but I agree with Daniel on to the point where there should be responsibility. If you're making a movie about pedophilia, maybe let's not put it on Netflix, or make it not so child accessible like you have. And yes, I realize that you go to a porn website and goes, "Are you 18?" and anyone go, "Yeah, I am," and click on it. Yeah, I realize that, but you need to at least, making it. Maybe that movie shouldn't be on Netflix.
So I agree with you to a point. Art should be edgy. Art should be responsible. The issue is, where do you draw the line between responsibility and being edgy art that you're trying to say something with, and at what point do you start glorifying? Because the show You is a perfect example. You, if you haven't seen it, is about a stalker who falls in love with a girl, starts stalking her, they start a relationship, and things go south.
Oh yeah, don't.
No, you're good.
Okay.
I can barely hear you.
Okay, and stuff goes south, and then he stalks some more. It's all about stalking. And
You haven't seen any of them?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay.
Did you not know it was about a stalker?
Uh-uh.
Really?
I thought you.
The whole
I
point.
haven't seen anything.
Oh, okay.
I thought you said
Anyway.
you couldn't hear us.
Anyway,
I can
so
read lips.
so the
Vacuum.
the main actor, and forgive me, I can't recall his name. He's gone on record, and people have glorified his character and started being like, "Oh, he's so romantic. Look at all these things he's doing for his girlfriend," and they're missing the point.
Oh, yeah.
Because the point is, this is not a good man. And he's said this. The actor who is portraying him has gone out and said, no, like, you should not be glorifying me. You should not be glorifying Joe Goldberg. You should not be glorifying...
Wait, his name's Joe Goldberg?
Yeah, that's his name in the...
Oh, I didn't
In the
know.
show.
Ah, he is definitely Jewish.
Well, you've even said this as a comic book store owner. You've even heard girls say, "I want a relationship like Harley Quinn and Joker." And
Absolutely.
You're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, the people who say that do not understand the relationship between Harley Quinn and Joker. Like, if you idolize that, get a therapist. Because the whole
That's not a loving
point...
relationship?
Only if you
Oh,
backhand
God.
Harley every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Do you need help? Do we need to maybe get a marriage counselor? Oh, he's blinking SOS.
But and I feel like because that relationship, off topic, really quick,
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like that relationship, and you knowing more about, because I hate Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like because that relationship got so popular, that ruined the storyline. Not that I was happy to see a woman get beat. I'm just saying I thought that storyline was more compelling to the bullshit that they're doing now.
It did have to get changed. And I think you see that a lot with some of the modern Harley Quinn storytelling. You see Harley Quinn as a strong, independent woman.
Well, which is cool.
And-
But that's not what Harley Quinn was. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right, and at some point we have to agree that the stories have to evolve.
Right,
the
fair
the
enough.
abusive Joker relationship story can only go so far. Now, did they cut it early? Maybe. But Harley Quinn's got to have a new storyline at some point. And the fact that they took her from this abusive relationship, turned her into a strong, independent woman who is now, I think, canonically dating Poison Ivy, or has dated Poison Ivy at some point in the storyline.
Yeah, at one point, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's okay transition into the storyline. It's a good way to take something that people are idolizing negatively and turn it into a positive. Because at
in the
that point,
New
you're not
52,
going to...
Wasn't she a clone?
I didn't read much of New 52,
Oh.
so I couldn't tell you
I
that,
keep-
to
I
be
keep
perfectly
it-
honest.
Okay, we're
Let's
getting way
let's
off.
get back.
Okay.
back on
I
track
keep
here.
interrupting you. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, so we need to be careful not to glorify. Because you runs that line real dangerously. And the actor who plays the Joe has come out and said, do not glorify me, do not think this is romantic, this is abuse 100%. And with some of the pieces of art, we have to be careful about that, because some of these issues are real issues that people deal with every day, and to glorify it and make art of it for the sake of selling it kind of trivializes these people's experience. So I think it's something that we need to be real cautious of, and that's why probably you don't see a whole lot of pedophilia movies or bestiality movies or incest movies.
Interspecies erotica.
Yeah.
I can't even think of a bestiality. I mean, it's
Clerks 2.
Clerks 2.
Doesn't-
Yeah,
yeah.
which would be Bachelor Party, which is what that's referencing.
Yes.
There's the dude fucking a bear and
Super Troopers.
thank you.
Yeah, but
There's a guy fucking the goat, the sheep that Cody saw one day.
okay.
No, I do agree with I do agree with you. BC, that got me all confused. With what I was gonna say.
Well,
Trying to think about
yeah,
bestiality
Adam's
movies.
thinking about bestiality here. Yeah, so I think you have to run that. You have to be real careful to not glorify it, because somebody out there will. Somebody who is a perpetrator in these situations will grab that movie and be like, "This is my holy grail movie," and they are going to use it as a blueprint. They're going to use it as justification. So those kind of things you have to be very, very careful with, and careful enough that I would say, is it right to not make those movies? And I have a hard time saying no.
Well, hang on, but so like I said, I agree with that. There has to be responsibility in art, but when does the responsibility fall back on the viewer? Like if I'm watching a movie, I got like a little 9-year-old, and I'm watching a movie with some pretty heavy. Hey, come here, let's watch this. And then, like, some of the responsibility falls back on the viewer. Like, I don't ever, and of course, I'm not a doctorate in any of this stuff, but I don't ever agree that video games cause violence or movies cause violence. I think there has to be a responsibility in the artist, and there has to be a responsibility with the there has to be some ownership from the viewer.
Yeah, but that also comes back where the viewer has to know going into it, like we said with Netflix and the warning thing, because you can put on something and not know. Abel likes watching horror movies. If you picked a horror movie that you didn't know had that in it,
Well, so to answer you on that, I can't answer you on everything, but to answer you on the horror movie thing, I don't let him watch a horror movie that I haven't seen. So if I haven't seen it, I'll tell him no, I haven't seen it.
Yes, that makes sense. But I'm just saying, like, if not someone, I mean, yeah, you're giving a good example of what you should do. But I mean, there's other people out there that don't think of that. They're like,
so that falls back on them being responsible.
And that's true. There's a certain amount of responsibility to be held. When I went and saw The Watchmen in theaters, I went with my dad, my mom, my sister, and we were all adults at the time, and we had all read the book, and we knew what was going to happen. But at the beginning of The Watchmen, there was a family of 4 or 5 that had kids.
I had the same exact experience.
And about the time that
experience.
Dr. Manhattan's walking around with the giant blue swinging cock, that entire family leaves.
That's not the part that bothered me with the kids, because I was with my ex-wife, and I was like, I don't think because it was 2 dads, so it was me and my ex-wife, 2 dads, and then in front of them was, I'm assuming their kids, or they just randomly stole these kids. I don't know, but
thanks for doing something about it.
But so I said, there's going to be, if they follow the comic book, there's going to be a pretty graphic sex scene in what do they call the owl spaceship?
Artemis.
And I couldn't even watch the sex scene because I was staring at the dads and the kids. I was like, you guys,
how are they gonna react?
Yeah, I'm like, are you
guys
gonna
should leave.
cover or so?
Oh.
I'm like, what is this? So the dads just look at each other, and I'm like, fuck, I wish I could read minds because I know they were really uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, because I mean, Watchmen's got a lot of scenes like that. Like you've got the sex scene in the Artemis. You've got the failure to launch scene between
right,
the same
right.
two characters.
Right.
You have the assault from comedian onto Sally Jupiter.
Right.
See Night Owl's butt.
You see
when he's standing in the basement.
Yep. See Night Owl's butt. Like you've got prostitution with Rorschach's mom. There's a lot in this movie. In Watchmen, and we knew going in that was we read the book. We knew what was going to happen in it, and part of me wonders if the people who brought the kids into that movie read read what it was. If they just saw a superhero movie and they went to it, or if they read R and went, "Oh, it can't be that bad." But
literally, it's like Superman movie. Like, oh, this is like Spider-Man.
Is that the same thing that happened with Deadpool?
Yeah.
Where people are like,
Superhero.
superhero. Clearly, the R rating is just for violence.
Yeah.
Instead of, watching someone eat mashed potatoes out of
Yeah, so that scene where you talked about with Watchmen, I had the same scene with mothers bringing their 3-year-olds to watch the movie. Like, oh my goodness.
But you know who I wasn't so much mad, and I mean, I wasn't really mad, but I was like, why didn't the people at the say, no?
And they may not know, perfectly honest. And when Watchmen came out, we weren't really classifying what was in the movies. They was just getting kind of an R and kind of a nice general description. And now I think we've gotten better with some description about why it's getting that rating, which I think is a step in the right direction.
Like 300. 300, I remember me, and Jared went to go see it, and Mom had to come down to the theater for me to go in. And looking back at that movie now, the only thing I could think of was the Oracle is naked.
No, I mean, Lena Headey gets a doggy.
Oh yeah, she gets raped in that movie.
No, she didn't get her and Leonidas.
It was basically rape.
No, the senator.
It was sexual assault without a doubt.
Well, right, but I'm talking about.
I'm
talking about Leonidas.
No, that was consensual. But there was a ton of blood in that movie too. But it was all cartoony blood.
I haven't seen that movie in forever. I was just like.
Okay, getting off the heavy stuff.
So getting off the heavy stuff.
I want Cody to talk.
Yeah, but transitioning. Watchmen.
Yep.
There's a scene in Watchmen where you've got Dr. Manhattan and Silk Spectre, and Dr. Manhattan multiplies himself.
Yes.
And she freaks out. Would you freak out if your girlfriend could do that?
But remember, she questions it, though, because he's like, would you like this? She's like, yeah. Remember that? She's like,
And her big problem is that he's working in the other room while this is happening.
Yeah.
But it is a serious moral quandary. If
people can't do that.
Like, I think we all have fantasies. Like, oh yeah, that'd be awesome. But like, I think logistically, I don't know if we'd. Don't you fucking touch me.
You just said you had fantasies, and you looked directly into my soul. I'm sorry.
Like I said, I think we all have fantasies, but I actually think logistically we wouldn't be able to satisfy. Just saying.
Speak for yourself.
I think everybody brags a lot.
So just overall, before we get to the more funny...
Yeah, I mean, Adam, if your boyfriend could do that, would you be down?
Boyfriends?
Sure.
I mean, I already got boyfriends. No, but so to get to the lighter
Good night, everybody.
So, my ex-wife kind of questioned me on this, and my current wife has questioned me on this. I'm a big fan. Like my wheelhouse is like 60s, 70s, early 80s. I don't really like anything past like 82 because after 82,
that's a very specific age category you like your women.
Because okay, that was a good one. No, so anyway, 1982, the year.
1984.
No, 1982. Everything after that kind of becomes everything that I hate about the 80s. Like, you still got the 70s up to about 1982. But that's
you don't like Back to the Future?
No. So that's my...
Are you serious?
Yeah, you like retro movies.
Vintage.
Yeah, hipster,
So, anyway.
How many turntables do you have in your house? Yeah.
So-
More than one, even?
Yeah. Yeah.
With an 8-track player?
Well, how do you? Actually, yes, one does have an 8-track player. Anyway,
Are you DJing or driving a train?
That's my wheelhouse of movies, right? And my favorite movies of all time are grindhouse movies, whether it be crime, horror. Like grindhouse is my fucking jam. I love grindhouse movies.
All right, explain for people who may not know what grindhouse is specifically. What is grindhouse?
Yeah,
So-
I'm pretty confused as well.
Okay, so grindhouse is a term from New York City. I believe it's 48th Street, where they would literally they would grind out movies. They would in most of
So a bunch of low budget movies back to back.
not even necessarily low budget movies. Towards the end of the movement, it became low budget movies. But this was before VHS and home rental and everything. Because once you missed it in cinema, the only chance you had to rewatch it was either they replayed it again, which was
hit or miss whether it would happen,
Yeah.
or maybe if it got a VHS.
Or no, this was before VHS. So the only way you could rewatch it was in your brain. So they would grind it out. And some of these cinemas weren't even cinemas. They were literally like bingo halls or whatever. They would just paint. They wouldn't even use a curtain. They would just paint the fucking wall white, and they'd put like these type of chairs down, and it would be like, well, it wasn't
chairs.
No, I'm just saying they weren't.
Oh, what's wrong with my chairs?
You kind of like use them
it's
as
not
like a
old
base
enough.
description.
It's not old enough.
So
You're right.
so
they
they-
had to use lead-based paint and then go like this. And
So anyway, you could go in instead of buying like I'll have one ticket for the Watchmen. You'd be like, here's $10, and you'd fucking stay in the theater, and it was just like it was Frankenstein, and it was the 1990s.
So it'd be like a quintuple future.
Yeah, they would just grind them out. Okay, now that was where the name comes from, the grindhouse cinema. But grindhouse also became a genre where it was low budget films, Corman, Canon films. I can't even think
don't
of
fucking point at me.
No, I was pointing. And there was two other major ones, but anyway, they were really well known for being really exploitative, which is basically it was girls naked.
I get that.
Right. Okay.
That's sort of the reason why we're doing the episode.
Right, and it was always most of the time there was no logical story reason for the girls to be naked. It was just they would just take their tops off. Some of my favorite films are Coffee, with Pam Grier. If you haven't seen Coffee, do yourself a favor, watch Coffee. It's a fucking badass movie. Spider Baby.
Spider Baby.
Yeah, it's got Sid Hagen. Coffee has Sid Hagen in it.
Coughing or coffee?
All he's missing is a Starbucks cup and
COFFY. Anyway.
And his
I got an idea
his
for
Buddy
Jack
Holly glasses.
Blackula is another movie that I fucking love.
Betty likes Weezer too.
I own the green album, blue album.
Stop fucking pointing at me.
I own a 35 mil print, or no, it's 16. I own a 16 mil print of the Blackula trailer. It's the actual film. It's pretty cool. Anyway,
Hipster.
anyways, the early Tom Savini slashers, the Nightmare on Elm Street series, even though that came out in '84, it was still less '80s. Anyway, these
82, that's my cutoff.
Anyway, these are famous for just being really sleazy in movies, but they didn't hide what they were. Like they didn't come out to be like this is the new system.
So he wasn't like such an artistic expression.
Right.
It's just like there's topless boobies in this movie. Go watch it.
Like, there's
topless boobies and guns.
Like,
Yeah, because they each have like their own little top,
Like
each
mini
of each
boo-boos?
boob. So they have their own tops.
like
so
there,
instead of nipples, they have more boobs.
yeah.
like
I'm
there,
so
like
into this.
there was there's a movie that I
Mm.
watched. Literally, a movie that I like. It's got Pam Grier in it. She's got good boobies. It's called Women in Cages and Heat. It's in a subgenre of women prison movies.
What
Right?
about nude nuns with big guns?
That was an homage to there. But
Like,
anyway,
okay, I don't know if like that sounds just like a porno title to me, and I don't know if what you guys just said, the nude nuns with guns, if he was making a joke or if that was an actual movie.
That's an actual movie that was on Netflix at one time. I don't know if it is or not. It wasn't.
What about the movie Grindhouse by Quentin Tarantino?
Yes, you guys are getting off topic. Anyway,
What do you?
Anyway,
Didn't she have a gun for a leg in that movie?
She
Yeah.
did. I loved Planet Terror
and
or
Machete.
Planet Horror.
And Machete had Alexis Vega, the chick from Spy Kids. She had the booby guns that Cody was talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think I mentioned booby guns. You brought that up.
Didn't you mention booby guns?
No,
No, I
I'm
was
talking
talking
about
about
Austin
boobs
Powers
also
when I talked
having
about
boobs.
fembots.
Oh, anyway, so my point is this. Those are my favorite movies. They're sleazy. There's like Pam Grier takes her shirt off for no fucking reason in almost all the movies. There's no storyline. There's no reason for her to do it. They're sleazy. They're stupid. They're awesome.
Oh,
Now-
it's not on Netflix anymore.
And I love those movies. Now, I can watch a movie that's brand new where it comes on Netflix and it's like supposed to be the scariest movie of all time, and they'll be in the middle of an attack and the one blonde chick be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go take a shower." It'll fucking piss me off because there's no point behind it. And my ex-wife and my current wife will say, well, "Why do you watch all that shit from this?" Because that is what they are. Like they are just sleazy movies. That's what it is. Like these movies now, they're just using it to like, well, because Roger Corman, or no, it was the owner of New Line Cinema. That's like every 15 minutes, either someone dies or a girl takes her shirt off. Period. And if he watched one of the movies he was paying for and he didn't see death or some tits every 15 fucking minutes, he would make you change it, or that movie was being shut down.
So New Line Cinema famous for Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
The house Freddy built. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I guess my point is I'm kind of hypocritical. This is why one of my favorite topics, because I'm kind of hypocritical on it. If you were just saying like, dude, this movie sleaze, and it is what it is, and it's a good like Coffee is one of my favorite movies. It's actually a really good movie. Is there a lot of boobies in it? Fuck yeah. But if you take all the boob...
There's something about the emphasis with the thumbs up that kind of makes it disingenuous.
But if you take the boobies out, it's still a good movie. It's just... I guess I'm just being hypocritical.
So you're saying like so when you get down to brass tacks, at the end of the day, you have your old movies that you do love with all your heart. Even without the boobs, it's still a great movie. But modern movies, all it is the boobs, and you take it out and the story's just crap.
Women in cages and heat would suck without the boobies. But I don't know. I guess we were talking about how we gotten older, and I guess if I had watched those sleazy grindhouse films now, I don't think
So it's more for nostalgia's sake nowadays than actual.
Well, I would say Women in Cages in Heat is for nostalgia's sake, but I hate bringing this movie up. But Coffee is a fucking awesome movie. Watch Coffee.
Hipster.
Anyway, I guess now that I'm older.
I didn't like boobs until it became mainstream.
I guess now, like if a modern movie advertised itself as just like a sleazy film, I'd be like, okay, cool, let's watch this. But if it's trying to be a scary, like I haven't seen Scream 6 yet, but I swear to God I'm gonna be pissed if they just randomly. Not that Scream's really known for their nudity, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Right. So it's kind of like this is harking back to yesteryear of damage control podcasting, but we did a film commentary on a Pamela Anderson movie, I believe called The Tower.
It wasn't Pam. It was the stripper that married the old dude.
Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah. They called The Tower.
Yeah.
And
great movie.
if you haven't watched our commentary or listened to our commentary,
we fucking stopped it because we found out we weren't watching the naked version.
Yeah, we found out we were watching the censored version and then had to change to the uncensored version.
And we didn't edit the podcast. You hear us searching for the uncensored.
Yeah, so that's classic DCP.
Is that why when you listen to that you hear a lot of zip?
So that movie has the uncensored version. When we were watching it, we had no idea that we missed the nude scene until Adam, who is a Tower aficionado, tells us we missed the nude scene. So we went back and rewatched it with the nude scene, and there's nothing that gets added to that movie.
No, there's not.
You could do that movie 100% without the nude scene.
And it's still a shitty movie.
And it's still, it's still absolute garbage. So I guess that's for me. Like, if I'm going to watch a movie, I want the storyline to make sense. If the nudity is required, if the sex is required, put it in and put it in correctly. Put it in like I described, where it's realistic to the world you're building. Don't insult me by throwing me this censored scene and expecting me to feel like it's important to the storyline. If your actors don't want to do those kind of scenes, fine. Cut that scene. That scene can be just as effective as an after-sex scene. That scene can be just as effective in a coffee shop while they're having a conversation if you're trying to get exploitation out. Exposition. Sorry, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, not the other horrible one.
Right. So, to me, like, if it's necessary for the storytelling, put it in there. If it's not, don't worry about it. Don't put it in. There's another show out there, one that I got most of the way through, called Lost Girl. And if you're not familiar with Lost Girl is about this character who finds out that she is a descendant of a fae creature.
Does she wind up on a
wait?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Descendant of what?
A descendant of a fae creature, a fairy.
Oh, okay.
And the type of fairy she is called a succubus. She's got all of these cool powers,
Those
but she is
fairies?
That is in their canon. It is.
Okay.
Yeah. So she gets all these cool powers, and she has these abilities that she has access to, and a lot of them are based around seduction and sex. When she is drained of her power, she has to have sex in order to recharge her power. The show is actually really, really good. However, this is a show about a character who is powered by sex, who uses sex as a weapon against bad guys. USA produced it. USA showed it. There is not one scrap of nudity in this entire show.
Who's the actress?
I would have to look. I don't remember the actress's name. There's not one scrap of nudity. Every single sex scene is cut out, which is fine, but they show some of the sex scenes, and they are fully clothed. Nothing comes off. It's like they're just magic holes into their jeans to make things function. It's terrible, and it's so distracting from the storyline that they're creating. And to me, that's just not a good way to do your storytelling.
Fair enough. So let's bring it back to lightness so Cody can talk.
I didn't think it was unlight.
No. What are, growing up, what are some of your, do you have guys have any experiences with, like, magical experiences with nudity in cinema? Like me and
Seeing the Titanic,
like me
with
and
mom and dad and everybody else.
Me and Tyler have the experience. We had, well, maybe it was me and Jared. I'm sure it was me and you. Dad had the movie Under Siege.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Coming out of the birthday cake.
Coming out of the birthday cake. That was always like we're watching this movie, and all of a sudden, Dad. I don't know if you experienced. Dad may have just given up by the time you were watching it, but Dad always made me and Jared get out of the room, or he would, whatever. So that even made us more curious. And then when we finally saw it, it was like, oh, boobies. Like that was a big deal to me. I remember seeing Starship Troopers in the theater with my buddy Jeremy, and there was a few people in there, wasn't a lot, and we were watching it, and it was all quiet, and then there's a shower scene where they're all showering together, and my friend Jeremy, who's older than me, goes, "This is why we came to the movie," really loud, and I'm like sinking in my chair, I'm like, shut the fuck up, because everyone heard him say that. But yeah, that was a good scene though.
What I enjoyed about that scene was how natural and casual it was for all the actors, for the characters in that show. Because to me, like, there's been some criticism for Starship Troopers for the inclusion of that scene. It's just a reason to get your actors naked. Sure. Also, it shows, and that is a brilliant piece of storytelling to me, because it shows everyone's perspectives on sex and nudity from the civilization side.
Right.
And to me, I thought it was really impactful because it tells you so much about their society, about how all of them are just natural. None of them were like, oh, look at her boobs, or hey, look at that guy, and
Yeah,
look
there
how
were-
small or big he is.
There
It's
was nothing sexual about it.
exactly, and you could not do that with a group of men and women today anywhere. I think in the world. That you could not have that many people showering naked and there be zero sexual comments.
What if you did it at a porn star convention?
I think that would even be as worse because
Yeah.
they are like, from what I've seen of like the AVN, they are sexualized people. They will walk up to another porn star and be like, "I loved your tits in this movie." And
What,
blah, blah,
what
blah,
about
blah.
a bunch of blind people?
The smell. They get off on the smell. Ooh, that smell.
Why is there fish in this bathroom?
Cody, what were you gonna say?
Okay, sorry. I thought you said something else, not Starship Troopers.
Oh, what do you think I said?
I thought you said Under Siege.
But he
Yeah,
did say
well,
Under
I
Siege,
did say
yeah.
Under Siege.
Well, you turned it to Starship Troopers, so I thought,
There was a conversation of Starship Troopers.
okay. All right.
Where were you thinking of the birthday cake scene? And
Yes,
completely
I was thinking
lost?
I was thinking Under Siege. And then
Yes.
so I felt like you went to the Starship Troopers, and I thought like, okay, maybe I heard something wrong.
No, we were both discussing Starship
The
Troopers.
Starship Troopers were under siege
By the bugs, Cody.
Yeah.
Come on, keep up here.
Come on, we've been talking about Starship Troopers all episode.
Yeah.
We have.
Where have you
Yes.
been?
It's the
I don't
Starship
know. Like
Trooper
I
episode.
literally just. I think I heard Under Siege, and I went back to the good old times.
It's the whole 2 points thing. That's just
Oh yeah, there
His
was
most
2
recent
points,
loss,
2
yeah.
valid points in that Under
Very
Siege scene.
perky,
That VCR went back like 15 times.
Gravity-defying points.
that's why that VHS never worked.
I think it's interesting that your guys' first experience with that was Under Siege.
What?
Just because, like,
The one I remember the most is
wasn't-
Titanic, though.
I mean, sure. Titanic, I saw that. in
'Cause I
theaters.
was-
Second tape, 13 minutes in.
Yeah.
We had the double VHS. Second cassette
Well,
tape.
the only reason I remember that is because for some reason we all went and saw it in the theaters as a family, as you do.
Right.
And Dad covered my eyes in the theaters, and then because he loves Titanic, not the movie. I mean the whole thing.
He only had.
He loves
only,
the.
He could only
the
use one
tragedy.
hand though to cover.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. But like at home, I remember because I knew what happened. I just didn't see it. I distinctly remember sitting on the living room floor, like, is he gonna tell me I have to leave? And like I kept waiting, and then finally, like it happened. I'm like, didn't cover my eyes. I get to see it. I get to
Knowing
see
him,
it.
he probably fucking forgot.
Probably. You're probably asleep. That's just one of the things I remember. I mean, that and watching Super Troopers with you when you were in college.
Yeah, oh yeah. I know
Oh,
Super
right,
Troopers.
yeah.
Yeah, you guys had much different experiences growing up than I did. That's interesting.
Well, what's yours?
So for me, like Mom and Dad would watch any R-rated movie before we watched it. So like there was very little censorship in my house. Movies that did get censored, I can only think of a few. Blues Brothers. Yes, at the opening scene when Jake is getting his possessions. He is given a condom and a soiled condom.
Really?
And
No, that's not my penis pump.
And my dad,
That's not mine, baby. Oh, sorry.
my dad didn't stop it, or he would pause directly before that scene, and he said there will be no questions for 2 minutes, and then he'd play it. And if we tried to ask about the condom, he said there will be no questions for 2 minutes. And then we will have forgotten about asking about the condoms, and we just enjoyed the rest of Blues Brothers.
Abusing kids' short-term memory.
And like some of the other, like just some random censorship, like we couldn't watch the opening of Terminator 2, Judgment Day, when
I
the
think-
nuclear explosion kills the lady.
Like I have faint memories of that too, and I think after watching that as a child, I did get nightmares. Like I think that was the first instance. Like, okay, so somebody could go like that, and we're just dead.
Our parents didn't really love us that much, I guess. I don't think our parents really either A, had good memories, or B, they watched movies multiple times. Like, they would just go out, they'd put a movie in, and then if it started to get to the point, like they'd be like, okay, leave the room.
Yeah, I have that experience.
I only
Yeah.
got kicked out of the room twice. In all of the movies that we watched, we just had little snippets like that. One of them was The Life of Brian.
And the other
Or
was
no,
Deadly
not
Death
Life of
Dallas.
Brian. It was The Meaning of Life. Sorry, The Meaning of Life. The
Yeah,
Monty
that has a
Python.
good reason.
Yeah, that one's got like the sex education scene. I got kicked out of. They tried to kick me out, and I threw a fit, and Dad let me stay. Then the other one was.
It wasn't the 100 topless girls chasing the guy.
No, it was the sex education scene, where he gets like his penis stuck in the girl.
It happens.
The other movie they got kicked out of was Devil's Advocate.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, which I, as an adult, I enjoy as a psychological horror movie. It kind of falls into that erotic horror film genre, which is kind of disappointingly small as a selection. And that was when I was old enough that my parents weren't pre-screening movies. So we got shortly after the scene where his wife is insane and like was naked and talking about her experiences with Al Pacino's devil character. Shortly after that, I got kicked out.
You know who that was? Charlize Theron.
Oh, okay. Thank you. But like, Terminator 1 with that scene, I got to see that. All of that. That wasn't any big deal. I believe Beastmaster, growing up, had a nice sex scene.
Beastmaster.
Huh?
Beastmaster?
Yeah, it was great. I love that movie.
I
and the
think-
sequel. The sequel's especially fun.
I think genetically, as a child, if your parents are watching something that you should not be watching, something goes off in your head. So me and my wife were trying to watch Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
It would be the most boring talking stuff in the entire world. My kids would be nowhere to be found. The second boobs would come on TV, you just hear, "What you guys watching?" And like, and the thing, everyone gives Game of Thrones crap because like they're like, "Oh, there's boobs, there's butts," but for the most part, I mean, there's stuff going on, and like there's a scene in season 1 or 2 where one of the characters is talking about the power that he has, and he's a brothel owner, and 2 girls are like he's teaching this girl how to fake it so that she can
Make it?
have more power over her John, basically.
Yeah, I remember that scene.
And I'm like, okay, that makes sense for it to be in. I mean, technically you could do it a different way, but I mean, leaving it in there doesn't change anything. But like I said, it just seems like as a kid, something goes off in your brain. Like my kids will be upstairs and they're like, "There's boobs somewhere," and then like they come downstairs. What's going on? What are they doing? Why are they naked?
Yeah, so I think I kind of want to compare our experiences because you three sound like you had a pretty censored childhood when it
Yes.
came to nudity.
Yes.
No, our parents just didn't want it. They wanted to enjoy it all for themselves.
Well, that's fair.
Oh, I'm gonna be sick.
I'm just curious, because I didn't. I remember growing up watching Caddyshack and Animal House with their nudity scenes and all of that. And I'm kind of curious how the difference in our perspectives towards nudity goes with that. With that kind of... This is the psychology major in me.
There's not... I'm trying to think of what...
What? You're giving me the
What?
kill it sign, but I don't understand why.
I want to kill it.
Okay, well,
Okay.
all right, well, then we'll change it to this. We'll use the same question, we'll change it to this. So in other countries, during like prime time, you'll see boobs on TV, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like in France, nudity's really like kids aren't restricted to go see a movie with nudity.
Like
It's when it becomes sexualized or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But in interviews, foreign countries are more like shocked by how much violence like even in a PG-13 movie that we as Americans allow into a movie where we're like, but you let these kids, but the body's natural, like boobs are natural or whatever. But they won't let them watch a sex scene. It's just if the movie has just topless girls or even a naked guy, that children of a certain age can go watch it. Do you think their reasoning is that sexual experimentation and blossoming is an adolescent thing or is important to adolescents? Do you think American cinema and entertainment should adopt that? Not necessarily letting, and maybe with what you're saying with you and all that, and that maybe we are slowly going that way, that maybe we should be more as far as nudity goes, and at least breaching the topic of sex should be less censored. Clearly we don't want 13, 14-year-olds watching an explicit sex scene, but should we adopt the more foreign country model in art?
So I think that's an interesting question that I feel like yours and Tyler's perspective is going to be more valuable. I'm not a parent. To me, I would be more cautionary about some of the violence than I would like sex or nudity in film and what I would allow my child to watch. Now, I think there is more of a danger in censored violence than graphic violence.
So what? I think I know what you like.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I know what you mean. I got a lot of crap from my in-laws and mom and dad because I let my 9-year-old watch horror movies, but I also gave my mom crap because I'm like, motherfucker, you let me watch Nightmare on Elm Street all day long when I was that age, so your opinion don't matter.
And you watch He-Man, that's basically gay propaganda.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I think this is what you're saying, I could be wrong. To me, the Saw movies is so much melodrama. Like, that violence. To me, I would rather let my 9-year-old son watch Saw than Saving Private Ryan. Not because I don't dislike Saving. I think Saving Private Ryan is a good movie. But that's real violence. Saw is so over-the-top melodrama to me that even when I was a kid, I understood it. Like, this is over-the-top theatrics.
It's you watched horror movies a lot, and I, as you were my older brother and my brain wasn't fully developed, I wanted to like the things that you liked. And I distinctly remember, being scared to death of Freddy Krueger. And you flat out told me, you're like, it's fake. It can't happen. That's why you should enjoy these types of movies. There's no one that's going to invade your dream and kill you in your sleep.
Plus, I believe I told you don't live on Elm Street, so you're okay.
That was it too. But that
was
didn't.
A nice little older brother thing.
No. Don't go there.
I didn't do it very often.
Don't go there because he had a. There's others.
But was that what the point you're trying to make?
Similar. Now, I would kind of take a different perspective on the Saw versus Saving Private Ryan, because Saw very much glorifies the violence and the blood and the gore, where Saving Private Ryan is very real. I would kind of caution more towards watching Saving Private Ryan, but here's the thing that would bother me. Now, I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't seen Saving Private Ryan. I know that it's a rated R World War II. It's very graphic. It's very real war.
Have you seen Shaving Ryan's Privates?
That one I have. What I would be concerned about is a PG-13 cut of Saving Private Ryan, where they cut the blood and the consequence of the violence. Now, I don't believe that movies and video games cause violence. I don't believe in that. I do believe that there are people out there that have a difficult time separating fantasy from reality.
I agree.
Now, those people are the ones that I would primarily be concerned with, and that thinking can be taught. If you censor all the consequences of the violence, the blood, the pain, if you censor the emotion around violence, then I think you can stunt the idea that violence can be harmful to others. So if you did a PG-13 cut of Saving Private Ryan, where you cut out all this serious emotion and the blood, I feel like you create a movie that is more harmful to a child than either Saving Private Ryan's or Ryan's Privates
Starring Val
could
Venus.
possibly be.
Oh, they're gonna say Val Kilmer.
No, Val Venus. Or Val Kilmer. He kind of looked like Val Kilmer. No, I 100% agreed. One of the, and you can, because I always told Tyler this, one of the reasons why I liked House when it was on, I mean, I still like it now, but I mean, when it was airing, was he was popping pain pills. And, you know, I enjoyed it in the first couple seasons, but even I was like, man, like, I was enjoying it, but, like, this is like showing him breaking the rules and getting away with it. But then, as the series went on, he got sick from always popping. He was getting in trouble with the law. And I'm like, good. I like the character House, but I like seeing consequences to, and I agree with you. And maybe we should adopt that with the nudity and sex. You know, just you see American Pie is what American Pie is. Should we show consequences? No, it is what it is. But, you know, if, you know, maybe movies that are more geared towards adolescents that have more blooming sexual orientation or blooming
more realistic views
like
on life.
like you show like a coming of age story and you show a boyfriend and girlfriend deciding to have sex. Maybe you should show possibly them not necessarily getting knocked up, but maybe like freaking out, you know, the mental anguish that goes with like, shit, she might be pregnant, or STDs, or showing the mom and dad freaking out on the, you know, like showing like actual, instead of making it. I mean, if you're gonna make an American Pie movie, awesome.
Make American Pie,
but make sure it's advertised as an American Pie flick. Does sex always have to be serious? Well, no, you can use it for jokes, but if it's geared towards adolescents, maybe even if it is jokey, you should still show like
the real side of it.
What can you know what I mean?
Right. No, and I agree with all of that. And continuing with the idea of violence, I think if you take a look at some of the things that we produce now for kids cinema versus things that, especially around when I grew up, you can see this kind of difference in mentality. Like, what is like, when was the last time, for you two guys, when was the last time you saw any film or show that your kids watched and a character died in it?
Oh shit!
That was definitely a kids movie.
Kid movies were fucking dangerous.
Right.
Never-ending story. Fuck off, man. Come on.
Right. I keep going back to
Goonies. I mean, no one died in it, but that was fucking violent.
I keep going back to Flight of Dragons. Have you guys seen Flight of Dragons? Flight of Dragons is a Rankin Bass animated cartoon about this guy who's a board game designer, and he gets shot back in time to the world of wizards and dragons, and they go on this epic quest to kill Omadon, the evil wizard. And the final confrontation between Omadon and his pet dragon Briog and our group of adventurers ends up with every single character except the main character dying. Every single one of them gets killed. And some of them, you get like these really heart-wrenching reactions from their characters. Like there's a paladin knight, and he's in love with the elf archer, and when the elf archer dies, he freaks out. He goes berserk. As he dies, he has this meaningful monologue and holds her hand when he dies. And that level of violence, I think, is okay, because it shows the consequences and the risks. Now, are we running into dragons every day? No. But I would rather that kind of violence be shown where you see the consequences than a lot of the other types of violence or these lessons. And I certainly think that was more impactful to me than seeing a pair of boobs anywhere.
Last Saturday. That's the last time that my kids
saw
watched
a pair of boobs
that on my phone. That my kids watched something where someone died.
Is that the name of the show, or is that when?
No, it was when. Last Saturday.
What was the show?
The Princess and the Frog, the Disney movie. Dr. Facilier got dragged to hell.
That's fair. And
also the lightning bug died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very nice.
my youngest made me turn off Jonah Hex because they killed the kid. Like, you don't even see the kid get killed. He's like, "Did the kid just die?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I don't want to watch this."
But see, my kids, I guess they don't. And maybe it's just because it hasn't really come up. But I mean, they haven't really understood the concept of death. Like, he gets dragged, into this voodoo mouth that opens up and there's green flames. And they're like, "What happened to him?" I was like, he died, and it was like, "Oh, okay."
Taking a shit.
Like that's it. Like I had to go to a funeral last week, and my youngest was like, "Did you see a dead body?" Like, it was just like they don't have a concept, I guess.
Yeah. So that experience, them seeing this character get dragged to hell, and them asking you, "Hey, what happened?" and you having to explain to them what death is. Do you think that would be harder than explaining, well, these are boobs and this is what sex is?
No, I'd be like, here's
Well-
porn. Here's Pornhub. What? Stay on page 1, kids. I don't want any spoilers for page 2. I don't know, man. Like I could probably handle the topic of death better, I guess. Like, my wife, she's handled all that stuff. Like, my kids know, like, the proper terminology for things. Like, growing up, like, I didn't know what the hell a penis. I thought a dick was just for peeing. Like, I didn't know what it was. Like, I thought, like, it was just there. Like, I mean, that's what it is for. But like, my kids don't walk around. They're like, "Yeah, this is my ding dong and chickadees," or whatever. They have a proper name for it. It's from
They actually
Newkirk.
call it a penis?
Yeah. So, I mean, if they go to the doctor and, they have a problem, they're like, "Yeah, my penis hurts," or something like that. That's how they would say it. So I guess they're more attuned to that type of stuff than they are to, death, I guess.
Well, plus kids, not necessarily as young as your kids or as my youngest, but I think kids nowadays have way more education in nudity and sex because of cell phones. They've got fucking hardcore sex at their fingertips.
It's that, and I mean, my oldest is only in first grade, and just recently, like, they sent home a note. They're like, "You can opt out of having your child go to this," and it was like the
Avian Awards.
It was like a sexual awareness thing, like, good touch. Where is it okay to do that? And I'm like, I don't ever remember that happening.
No,
That didn't happen until high
No,
school.
yeah, fifth grade for me.
Yeah, I had what was that called? The pubic hair boner talk or whatever?
Birds and the Bees.
I don't know.
Because the girls had it in 5th grade with their first period talk. We had it in 6th grade.
Yeah, you watched some video. The only thing I remember about the video is it was a kid sitting in the middle of a classroom, and he goes, "Oh no, it happened right here in class. I wonder if the guy next to me can see." And I was like, "See what?"
Oh, yeah.
And then at the end of it, as we're leaving, the principal goes, here's a thing of Old Spice," and then that was it.
Yeah.
So
Okay, we're getting long in the tooth.
Right.
This is why I cut out a lot of stuff, because this is like one of my favorite topics.
Pervert.
Yeah, I am very much a pervert.
So how much time do we have there?
We are at an hour 36.
Oh, damn. Okay.
No, go ahead. What's up?
Well, I just wanted to end on a lighter note since we spent most of the day on heavy.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to.
And butt sex.
I didn't mean to.
I want to know, if you're comfortable talking about it, what misconceptions you had growing up. Because I remember at, I think it was 3rd grade, I was talking to a friend of mine who was upset, and he was obviously in pain. I'm like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "So-and-so stepped on my balls." And I'm like, why would that hurt? And he's like, "They stepped on my balls." And I'm like your kickball? Like, why would that bother you?
Dick would.
And I had no idea anything about that piece of anatomy at all. And I did not get the birds and the bees talk from my family.
I
asked Dad one time because I was like, Dad, when are you gonna tell me about the birds and the bees? And Dad literally just stood up and then walked out of the room. Didn't say anything. Stood up and walked out of the room. The only time I learned I saw a naked woman was when I found the ancient Playboy that was hidden in the coat closet.
Oh yeah, and the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to figure out what sex was entirely on my own and through school.
Same here.
So I had found a porn in my house and had watched it, and that is my first experience with sex. And I was legitimately 7th grade when I found out that you had to finish inside a woman to get her pregnant. Up until the 7th grade, I was always wanted to ask how they burrowed in through the stomach.
So the storks, you leave the window open? Or?
In Dennis the Menace, the belly button opens up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so here's real embarrassing. My boss is going to love this. Hi, Kayla. So I had experienced self-love before that interaction in science class.
Wait, you did it in science class?
Yeah, we learned about it in science class.
You didn't, like, the guys get taken away? And
Well, that happened in 5th grade, but they didn't talk about like how to get a woman pregnant.
Right,
that was,
my bad.
You're going through changes, and here's what a wet dream is like, and stuff like that.
Gotcha, my bad.
I was 7th grade science class when I figured that out. And before that, I'd always wondered, like, what health detriments are going to happen to me? Because this is how a woman gets pregnant. What happens when they burrow into my stomach?
That's like the 7th evolutionary phase of the graboids from Tremors, I believe.
So, did you guys have any like misconceptions, like these terribly wrong ideas growing up?
Literally everything.
Yeah.
I was the biggest pervert in the world, and I said a bunch of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And most of it I just made up, and I'm sure I was called out on it a lot. I made everything up.
I told you, I didn't even know what it was for. I thought it was just for peeing out of.
Whatever movie I saw, whatever raunchy movie I saw, I repeated it. Acted like it happened to me or something. Seriously. Back to School, American Pie, whatever. I repeated it as if I knew what the fuck it is I was talking about. I'm sure I got made fun of a lot behind my back.
Right.
To your face.
To my face. I was wrong about almost all the perverted shit that I said.
Oh, I was right.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
No,
Fair enough.
Movies very much educated me because my parents didn't.
Yeah.
Movies very much educated me.
Our parents wouldn't have said a damn thing.
Right.
As it was plainly obvious.
Yeah.
It was basically like, yeah, just figure it out.
Remember that time, pal, I told you that I had that foreign exchange student stay in my house, and she got naked in your bedroom, and then we tried to have a webcam, and then our friends Blink 182 were watching on the webcam.
What, had a monkey?
Yeah.
No, but I remember the time you wrote the song "How Bizarre" and they stole it. They stole it from you. That never got old.
To answer your question, every fucking thing was because I just made it up. Or I mean, I didn't make it up. I stole it, and I still steal shit from movies. But
movies, TV, music,
all my movie stuff,
jokes,
all
jokes from Who's Line.
All the perverted shit that I talked about with friends was stolen from movies.
Fair enough. All right. Well, you have been listening,
but before,
okay.
All the shit I took off. That I want to talk about at some point. There was a movement in the 70s, mainly by the Mitchell brothers, which is where they wanted to combine erotic, like porn, into cinema. Like, so they made Behind the Green Door, they made Devil and Miss Jones, movies where it was like actually a movie. Like I know, like you made the joke, Axel Braun. I know they make porn parodies, but the acting's really shitty. It's not movie quality. It's all about
Pirates.
Yeah, Pirates.
Pirates is good. Pirates is too.
Pirates has CG in it.
Yeah.
Side note: if you had a brother and he was like, "Hey, want to watch this movie?" and you're like, "Sure, what movie?" and he goes, "Pirates." Would you sit next to your brother on a small couch and watch the movie.
It was a medium-sized couch.
I have had more uncomfortable experiences than that.
But anyway, I would like, at some point, I want to talk about that movement, and do you think it could ever happen? Because it was like actual legitimate, like Martin Scorsese level movie making mixed in with hardcore porn.
I have
The Mitchell brothers. I want to talk about that at some point.
Sure, I have never seen a single one of those films that I'm aware of.
Behind the Green Door?
No, I've never seen it.
It's got the hottest, in my opinion, the hottest porn star ever to walk the face of the earth.
Who?
Marilyn Chambers.
Don't know. Couldn't tell you.
I don't know. I got a top 5.
Well, go on. I'm sure Sarah would love to hear them.
Nope.
Hurry up. We got 5 minutes.
That was the joke.
Eva Angelina. I would say Sarah J.
Did not peg you for a Sarah J fan.
Why?
It didn't peg him.
I don't know. I used that. Gianna Michaels. No.
No. Marilyn Chambers is number 1 for sure.
Angela White.
No. I like Daisy Taylor. If y'all look her up, you'll get the joke on that one.
I'm assuming it's a trans. There's no chicks. There's no chicks with dicks. It's only dudes with tits, Adam.
Okay, we're way along the tip, but anyway, I do in a future episode. We don't do the next one or even the following one, but I do want to talk about that movement because that's a lot of the shit that I pulled out because I knew this was going to be a long episode.
Yeah. All right. So one last comment, then we'll go to the outro.
Okay.
My local video rental store had pirates on the staff recommended picks.
Yeah, but that was one of the things. Like at Blockbuster, you could rent like the censored version. It was actually a really good movie.
Oh, I didn't know there was a censored version.
It was oddly edited because it was like, come in, suck my cannonballs, and then it would like fade out to the next scene. It's like, well, you could have edited better than that.
That was something I feel like the back room at movie stores is something that kids won't understand anymore.
Well, movie stores in general.
I was an adult and had the craziest anxiety walking into that room.
I was in college and there was this hole in the wall.
It's called a glory hole.
record store type place, and it had a back room, and I remember. I'm 18, 19 at this time, and I distinctly remember, like, looking around for some reason, like, walking in and being like, oh, it's just a bunch of porn. Like, I don't know what I thought. Like, if there was a bunch of, like, porn stars back there.
Because I have a lot of shame, and I am perverted, but I never had shame on that because, like, if I went to the Chelsea's or anything like that, people...
You and Grandpa used to make jokes about Chelsea.
People would always be like, well, what if someone saw you in there? I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing in here? The same reason why you're in here.
Yeah.
Like
how's it going, pal?
As far
the hands stick together.
As far as shame going on that, like that shit never bothered me because it's just like, what are you judging me for? You're in here too, so what the fuck does it matter?
Yeah, but you were the one with a basket full of dildos. That's the weird thing.
That's my band name in high school. Basket full of dildos.
How else are you gonna carry it?
All right, you have
one in each hand, one in your... Never mind.
You have been listening and probably canceling Damage Control Podcasting.
If you're still listening to this at this point, you have won $1 million.
Wait,
please.
What's the name of your boss? Your boss's name?
I don't really want to tell.
Thank you for listening for this one.
Yeah.
Please contact Adam Tipton for your winning.
All right, you've been listening to Damage Control Podcasting, a professionally unprofessional look at the genres, styles, and genres and conventions, ideas of genres of filmmaking.
Boobies of filmmaking.
Check us out every Monday for new episodes on YouTube and SoundCloud and Porn. This is where this one's gonna go. Make sure you check us out on social media.
It's like Adam's doing the outro.
Yeah.
Like you haven't done this 1,000 times.
I know, right? Okay, and check us out on social media
Christy Mack, I like her too. She's cool.
Twitter,
Burnt Angel,
Facebook,
she's cool.
Instagram,
Maitland Ward from Boy Meets World. She's another
Grindr,
super hardcore
Facebook
porn.
dating,
Grindr.
Tinder. All right.
Facebook dating?
Thank you so much.
Facebook dating is a thing?
Adam, push the button.